So the light's nearly gone now, but I basically, first time he heard me talk, he flew off. But there's a field here, sweet potato field, and there's a few waders that have been in this field, and I've just sat here. They were far away, and I knew if I just quietly got out of my car and sat here, they would eventually come close to me, and they have done. And the light was lovely about 10 minutes ago. It's now gone, the end of the day really, and the light's coming over there and I'm this way, so it's not backlit, but it was kind of difficult because these sweet potato stems kind of block the view, and they have these nice aisles. So I kind of waited. I couldn't keep moving to where the birds were, or they would have flown away. So I kind of waited for them to get into the aisle that was parallel to me, but actually the aisles off center had this lovely green color in the water with a reflection from the sun and the sweet potato stems. So anyway, I think I got some nice shots. Black winged stilts. I think there was a red shanks, maybe a marsh sandpiper or a green shanks. Anyway, really cool. And my legs are hurting so much, but I basically got to the very front, gradually limped forward, and just had this camera rested on my foot to get as low as possible, and just let the bird autofocus do the rest. Hopefully I've got some nice shots. So this kind of photography, I'm at aperture priority. I set it to medium box. Now, every time the bird went below one of the stems, the autofocus is going to struggle. Well, of course, because I'm holding it down at my feet, using the flip-up screen, looking down, you know, that's fine. I'm going to miss some shots, but I'm at 25 frames a second, so I'm definitely going to get enough shots. Yeah, and I must say, silent shutter, which is now the norm, I suppose, but 10 years ago, these birds wouldn't have got as close as they did. The shutter sound would have scared them off. But with silent shutter, once they saw me park, they were aware of me. I sort of crouched down and creeped to this position. They were a bit nervous, but then within 10 minutes, they've come sort of within 10, 15 meters. So yeah, just usually get into position and wait for birds to come to you. You'll be surprised how, I mean, things like redshanks are usually very skittish, but because the black-winged stilts were coming, the redshanks were like, yeah, well, I'll try my luck as well. So yeah, and as I said, it does usually make such a much more pleasing image if you can get down eye level with the bird. And this flip-up screen is great. Often when you go to the coast, or where you go into another location, you can actually lie on the ground and look through the viewfinder, but that breaks your neck and your back. And with the flip-up screen, you don't need to, as long as you haven't scared the birds. Just either rest it on the ground, which I couldn't do because there were some grasses here and it blocked the view. So I basically just rested it on my foot, which with the IS, it's stable enough. And then just look at the screen and frame it that way. Very much easier than this photography used to be 5 or 10 years ago, because I would have had to lie down somewhere and get eye level, and it would have been just a whole palaver of me doing that. A, I would have ended up in hospital, and B, they would have noticed it and they would have flown off. So it's about a week later and I'm at the computer. Hopefully you are still awake. And I only popped to this place for about an hour. I didn't plan on making a video. So I basically got my phone out because the light was really nice, and I found these black winged stilts in this sweet potato field, and I just thought it gave me an opportunity to take some fairly interesting shots. So that's what I did. I put my phone against the tire of my car, hoping it would be able to follow me and track me. It didn't, and that's why it focused on the road. I apologize for that. Anyway, let's get into the pictures. The light came onto the right side of me, and I had planned initially to try and get the birds in the sort of alleyways between the shoots of sweet potatoes, but I noticed with the light shining from the right, it left some really nice shadows of this sort of warm yellowy green colour in the water, and it made for some nice shots. So anyway, here's the first shot. Because of these shoots, the birds kept going behind them, and so it was quite difficult to keep autofocus. So the auto eye tracking did fail a lot, because I think any tracking is going to fail with the bird constantly going behind something. But this shot here, the black-winged stilt bent down to get something from the water, and I just like the reflection of the light in the water here. This was at F5.6, so this was with the teleconverter on my Olympus 300mm f4 and my OM-1, and I was at 1/400th of a second ISO 500. And again, I just think this is a nice pastel-y kind of shot. Again, not super sharp, but photos are often so much more about sharpness. They're about mood, they're about light, they're about composition, they're about environment. And I often think that I won't choose the sharpest shot if there's less sharp shots, but the mood of the shot just takes me, and I particularly liked this shot. So moving on to the next one. Now the next shot was one of the few shots I got of the bird actually in between the rows of shoots, and this was a common redshank. Now he initially had been a bit shy to come forward, but after black-winged stilts had come forward, he was brave enough to come pretty close, because they're usually quite skittish, and again, not super sharp, but I just like the light on this and the overall mood of this shot. This, I think, was 1/320th of a second, f5.6, again ISO 500. The next shot, one of the stilts came pretty close to me to the left, and it was just a sea of yellow. The sun was really sort of low in the sky, and it was just this beautiful yellow surrounding the bird. And again, I just like the mood of this shot. Kind of different from the kind of shots I usually take, but yeah, I like this. And yeah, I think this was, again, 400th of a second, 5.6, ISO 500. And this is the last black-winged stilt shot I took. I'd waited for it to put its head above the parapet of the sweet potatoes to try and get it with that nice background in the distance. It didn't really do it, but I kind of like the isolation of this shot. As you can see, they're beautiful birds, and a lot of times people think Micro Four Thirds don't give you nice bokeh or background blur, but here I think it's really nice actually. It softens the sweet potatoes in the background, and I just like this shot. It shows it in its environment, and I like the sort of blur foreground and the blur background. And this was ISO 1000, shutter speed 1/320th of a second, f5.6. So those are the only shots I got on the day, so I haven't shared much. But as you can see, I think even in unusual environments, nice pictures can be got if there is nice light. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck on some recent pictures that I've taken. And I did include a few of these on my last video, but not so many people watched that video. Thank you if you did, but I think a lot of people seem to miss it for whatever reason, so I'll include them again just in case they catch this one. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. You are all appreciated, and I hope you enjoy the pictures. Let me know in the comments which one you like, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah, and have a wonderful Christmas. Take care, see you next time. Bye.